Hey everyone, Meinke here from MLive.com. Joined by Nate Atkins. We are in the aftermath, the afterglow, if you will, of another Lions victory. They're fifth in 6 weeks, and it's amazing. Nate, I remember coming back from Chicago. Lions were in last place in the North. They were falling apart. I remember asking Jim Caldwell about his job status and all this stuff. And now here we are going into Thanksgiving. Lions are 6-4, tied with the Vikings atop the North, and with the Packers fading fast, 4 straight losses for them. They're at 4-6. This really looks like a two-horse race at this point between the Lions and Vikings, and of course these two teams play each other on Thanksgiving. It's going to be quite a game. How do you see this divisional race breaking down?
Yeah, it's amazing that we've gotten to this point where it is just these two teams, and the two teams are not the Vikings and the Packers. It was amazing watching the Packers. I mean, it looked like they bowed out last night. That was their 4th loss in a row. They just got absolutely destroyed by the Washington Redskins, and they've got issues that go way beyond their offense right now. They've got issues all over the defense, and so it does feel like a two-team race because now the Packers are going to have to beat the Vikings and the Lions, probably do it both and probably win out to really have a good chance at this. The Lions are in a nice spot because they've got the Vikings at home this week on a short week. That's always hard on the team that's traveling. They've got the Packers and the Bears at home. They don't have another road divisional game. And so while I do think they have some tough road games, I think when they go at New York and especially at Dallas, that's going to be a big-time challenge. I think they're in a spot where this is a division you can win by maybe not being 11-5 or even 10-6. I think 9-7 can do it. So if they win those 3 games at home in the division, I think they can take it.
I think 9-7 can do it for the Lions. I'm not sure about the Vikings, but I think with the Lions, they have the victory already in hand against the Vikings. I mean, that means basically if the Lions win on Thursday, they are easily the favorite to win this division because it would be effectively a 2-game lead. It would be a 1-game lead in the standings, plus the Vikings would actually have to leap the Lions, and I'm not sure how they could go doing that, especially with Sam Bradford at quarterback. But I just think if the Lions win this game, you're sitting at 7-4. You have a 2-game lead with 5 to go. You've got still the Bears and Packers at home. I know that you have the 3 difficult road games, but basically I think if you can handle business on Thursday against the Vikings, you can hold serve at home. You've got the division wrapped up, and that's provided if other teams are winning all their games. The Vikings are winning all of their games, and they've lost 4 out of 5, and so I'm not sure even they can do that. So I think huge game, obviously, and I think if the Lions win it, they are for sure the favorites in the North.
Yeah, they are. At the same time, we got to point out it's really hard to beat a good team 2 times in 1 year, and especially the Vikings. They got back on track a little bit, but what would concern me for the Lions is they get the Vikings at home, and that's usually tough on a traveling offense. I don't think it'll be tough on that traveling Vikings defense. They are loaded, and the way that the Lions went out to run the ball yesterday, 14 yards against the 29th ranked rush defense, that kind of effort's not going to work against the Vikings. They can't be having running backs get hit in the backfield right off the ball. So this is the big one they have to win. If they win this, you're right, they're in their driver's seat. But I think it's really kind of a toss-up game, and the winner of that is probably the team that's going to win it.
I think there are things to like about this matchup for the Lions. The thing to dislike the most is what you mentioned, the matchup, I think, between the Lions offense and that Minnesota defense. They were violent against the Lions last year. I know the Lions did a better job in the first game this year, but you mentioned the running game in the last game. Dwayne Washington and Theo Riddick could probably have done a better job in that game. But when you have Riddick and you have Washington losing yardage on 7 of their 16 carries, that's on the offensive line. I mean, maybe there's things they could have done better, holes they missed somewhere along the way. But if your backs are getting hit that frequently in the backfield, that's on your offensive line. And now they go up against a much better defensive line in the Vikings. I haven't tracked the stats since the last game between the Lions and Vikings, but I know going into the last matchup between Minnesota and Detroit, Minnesota's defensive line was leading the league in sacks. I think that's something for sure for the Lions to be concerned about as they go into this game.
Yeah, definitely. It works the other way, too. I mean, Minnesota's having all kinds of trouble running the ball. Not quite to the degree the Lions struggled yesterday, but they're not getting 100-yard games. They're consistently rushing for fewer than 3.5 yards a carry. Not having Adrian Peterson's part of that, but their offensive line is a mess. And so the Lions are getting their defensive line going at the right time with Ziggy Ansah back, with the way Kerry Hyder has played. They were terrific yesterday. And so this could very much be a game where maybe the running games just don't exist, and it all of a sudden becomes Matthew Stafford against Sam Bradford. And, I mean, Stafford, you like that matchup, but it's going to come down to who can generate a running game in a game when there might not be a lot of that.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot, Nate. Do the Lions win the North?
I'm going to say they do not win the North.
Ooh, what do you think that's
I think the Vikings find a way to patch it together. That defense can carry a team a little bit.
Okay, yeah, I think the Lions win the division. I think they win on Thursday. I think they get that 2-game lead. I think they hang on somehow. They might win the division at 9-7. They do have some difficult road games coming up, but I think they win on Thursday. They take control of the North, and they hang on. That's going on the limb. I think a little bit. They haven't done. They've never won the North since they moved into the division. Whenever it was, I think it's been 20-something years. But I think they get it done. You do not. We'll see how it plays out. He's Nate. I'm Kyle. We're MLive. Keep it right here.